Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and go back to our handouts. I'm sharing my screen and let's go back to the handouts. And I started the video. So this was the last problem we looked at. I'd like to work on some of the problems, or at least one or two problems that, because I want to refresh your memory on completing the square. So let's look at this one or any problem. We can select from the book. If you, where is my book? Is my book here? No, these are my emails. Where is my book? I lost my book. Why did I lose my book? No, I didn't. It's right here. Okay. So we can choose anything else that you'd like to work on. Something like completing the square, because we need to look at something like 50. Would you like to pick, or we continue with 50?
We can just do 50.
Okay. So in that case, we have 50. Let me copy it from here. X squared plus 6x minus 4y plus 1 equals 0. Okay, so let me refresh your memory on completing the square. So see, these two terms have x in them. These two don't, so don't look at those for a moment. So does anyone remember what we have to add and subtract in order to complete the square? A completed square. Does anyone want to say anything, or I will explain from scratch? Anyone would like to say or make a comment here? Yes, no, maybe? Anyone, please? Do we remember completing the square? Should we spend time on it or not? Please.
Can you explain it?
Yes. Okay. So remember when we have a binomial square, let's say a sum squared, can anyone refresh our memory how many terms we get? We've discussed this for 3 months. No.
3.
Very good. 3 terms. See, I already have 2 of them. Only the third term is missing. How do I determine it? The shortcut is this. I take the middle coefficient. In this case, it's positive 6. I divide this by 2. I get 3. And I square this number. When I square this number, I get 9. So this is all I need to add and subtract. Why am I adding and subtracting? Because I cannot change anything. So this is 0. But now I will group these 3. Can anyone condense this into something squared?
X plus 3.
Excellent. Thank you. So we completed the square. So now I go back. See, my props are here. Now I go back to the equation. And I will replace x squared, or I will just redo what I just did here. That is the best thing to do. So I'm just going to copy the whole thing from scratch. So I have x squared plus 6x plus 9 minus 4y plus 1 equals 0. Another possibility is to say or write that you add 9 to both sides, but this is the same thing. So whichever it's easier for you. You can say I'm adding 9 here and I have to add 9 to the other side, or you say I add and subtract. These are the same thing. Now you already told me that this gets condensed into x plus 3 everything squared. Then I will move all these 3 terms to the other side. The negative 4y changes into 4y. The negative 9 plus 1, which is negative 8, changes into positive 8. Yes, we have to factor out 4. And now we have the center of the parabola. Can anyone identify the center? Can anyone identify the center of this parabola?
Is it -3 and -2?
Excellent. This is it. Thank you very much. And how do we know that? We know that from the circle, but let's say we have it right here. Okay? So the vertex is right here, and the focus and everything else can be determined easily. But in our case, we have this particular situation with positive in front, which is a regular parabola. These two are our very well-known parabolas, either opening up or opening down. These are new because they either open to the right or open to the left. So coming back to our problem, so we completed the square, and we did, and we identified the center. Do we need another example? Do we need another example?
Yes, please.
Okay, so let's look at 56 then. And we have y squared plus 12y equals -x plus 1. So we know what the first one is, right? It's a regular parabola with I called it the center. I'm sorry. I'm already thinking of well, actually that's the vertex, so not the center. That's the vertex. For some reason I wrote C. Sorry about that. Okay, so coming back here, what do we need to do? Can anyone tell us how to complete the square for y squared plus 12y? In the same way we did it for x squared plus 6x. Can anyone tell us what we need to add? And this time let's add to both sides, which is the same thing.
36.
Exactly. Indeed. And here's how we do that, right? We have 12, we divide that by 2, we get 6, and we square 6. Excellent. And then how do we condense this? What does this represent now? The other side is -x plus 37. Very good. Y plus 6 everything squared equals -x plus 37, and we have to rewrite it as factoring out -1. In this case, there is nothing else. Good. What is the vertex? Can anyone give us the vertex? Remember, you always look for x and you always look for y. Vertex. Anyone, please? It's not different from before. You just have to carefully choose the x coordinate and the y coordinate.
Would the y be -6?
Excellent.
And positive 37?
Excellent. This is it. Okay, so let's continue. Is this okay now? So, of course, the situation that we are facing at this moment is this one. The portion in front of x minus, in this case, 37 is negative. So the parabola opens to the left. And of course, the vertex is what you just told me. And it's y minus k squared equals negative 4a x minus h. The negative 4a will equal negative 1, so a will be 1/4. Okay. Do you think we need more examples? Oh, sure. What about we are given a parabola, either this one or this one. We're asked to find the equation of the parabola. So please choose 58, 64, or we go back to the book. But if we look at 64, because we've seen 58 many times, but it doesn't matter to me. Which one?
54.
64, very good. Let's take a look at 64. So we are given the vertex. Can anyone identify the vertex for us? Can anyone identify the vertex?
It looks like 1, 0.
Very good. So the vertex is 1, 0. And we do have another point. I'm going to call it P. Point P, 0, 1. Perfect. Okay. So obviously we see that the parabola opens to the left. Okay, one option would be to simply look at the list of possibilities. So since it opens to the left, we know exactly how to write it. So it has to have y minus the y coordinate of the vertex equals negative 4a and x minus the x coordinate of the vertex. So let's do just that. So y minus 0, everything squared, equals negative 4a x minus 1. So y minus k squared equals negative 4a x minus h. So this is the formula for such a situation. So I will simplify just this, because y minus 0 is y, so it's y squared equals negative 4a x minus 1. Why do you think that we are given another point? What will that help me do or find? What is missing? Yes, go ahead. What is missing here? In order to have, I'm trying to find the equation, but something is missing.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt.
Yes.
But it looked like you're set up perfectly to solve for A.
So that was my question. So why do you think there is another point given to us? Anyone, please.
Is it because you're trying to find the other point?
I'm trying to find A. So that's the use of the second point. So when x is 0, y is 1. So when x is 0, y is 1. Because we are trying to find this piece of the equation. Okay? Is that clear, everyone? Yes? No?
Yes.
Perfect. So then we have 1 equals negative 4a, and 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So 1 equals 4a, meaning a equals 1/4. Now we have all the information we need to establish the equation. So the equation now is y squared equals negative 4 times 1/4 is just simply negative 1. So negative x minus 1. And this is it. We don't need to do anything else. Any questions? Now we do have a feature in the graphing calculator. Under apps, we have something called conics. So when you click on 4, it will give you all the possible conic sections. Again, the circle was completed a long time ago. We are looking at the parabola. And it will ask us if it opens left or right or up or down. So I'd like to put in the equation that we just determined to see what happens. So since it opens to the left, I am going to use the y minus k squared equals 4p. They call it p, sorry about that. But it's basically a, x minus h. So we click on enter. So h, this is h. Careful how you enter the information. And h is 1. And in our case, k is 0. And now in our case, a is 0.25. We have to enter it as is, so it's 0.25, negative 0.25. Careful with these graphs. What I don't like about this feature of the calculator is that I'm trying to change the viewing window. Maybe zoom in, maybe zoom out. It doesn't allow me to do anything. So I'm not sure why it does that. Why it's so limited. Doesn't allow me to change anything or zoom out or see more of this graph, nothing. Okay, so maybe this is not the best thing to use. Okay, going back. Do you think we need more more questions, or we need to look at more? Well, why not? Constructing a TV dish. Let's look at that too.
Could you go over how to find the other, like the focus directrix and equation, or just the focus directrix and locus rectum of the last example?
You mean this one?
No, yeah, the one we just did.
Okay,
Yes.
so this was the one we just did.
Yes.
Okay, so we want to find the focus. And we want to graph the focus and the directrix. So let me go to the graph, back to the graph. Good. So remember, A is 1/4. We know that the focus has to be on the x-axis. Since A is 1/4, the focus is a comma 0. So here it is. So that would be the focus. The directrix will be on the other side, but careful, if this is 1/4, this is 3/4. So this is also 3/4. So I have 1 plus 3/4. So directrix is 1 plus 3/4, which is 7/4. So this is x equals 7/4. Okay, so also we wanted to determine the points that give the opening of the parabola at the focus. So we want to determine these 2 points, but all I have to do is just plug in 1/4 for x, of course. I don't have y, but I have x. So x for f is 0.25 or 1/4. So in the equation that we have, I have y squared equals negative, x is 1/4. 1/4 minus 1 is negative 3/4. So then y squared equals 3/4. And then y will be plus or minus the square root of 3 over 2. Which means this point up here and this point down here. The top one will be 1/4 comma, the square root of 3 over 2. The bottom one will be 1/4, comma, negative the square root of 3 over 2. So let me write them here as, let's say, A and B. So I'm going to put here, because I don't have room here, A and B. So A has coordinates 1/4, comma, the square root of 3 over 2, and B has coordinates 1/4, comma, negative the square root of 3 over 2. Is that what you had in mind, Blake?
It is. I'm still sort of confused though, and I'm looking at the handout that you have, and specifically for the focus, it says it's H minus A and then K. So what would you use? Like, what is H? I don't know. Would it be 1 and then
So-
minus?
So hold on just 1 second. So A is 1/4 from the vertex.
Yeah.
Yes, so you're right. It's on the
It
other
would be
side.
3/4,
Yes,
right?
yes. Thank you so much. So if the vertex is 1, 0, A is this distance, and this is 1/4, and from the origin. So this is 3/4. So A is 1/4. Okay, so now the coordinates, I have to plug in 3/4. And I have to correct those. So it was negative 3/4. That's even nicer. Thank you. So negative 3/4. It was 3/4 minus 1. Yes, is positive 1/4. Okay. Positive 1/4. Nothing else here. So it's 1/2. Both. Yes, A has to be 1/4 away. That's it. And now I have to correct the directrix, because this is 1/4 and this has to be 1/4. So it's 1 plus 1/4. Maybe I should just rewrite it here. Okay, so this is 1, 0. A equals 1/4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. So then this point and this point is 3/4, 1, 1/2. And this is 3/4, negative 1/2. And this is 1, 0. And then we go on the other side, 1 plus 1/4. So x equals 1 plus 1/4, x equals 3/4. 5/4. Yes. So A is 1/4, which means is the distance between the vertex and the focus, and also the distance between the vertex and the directrix. So I'm just going to say corrected on page 3. Good point. Thank you so much.